Great. Enjoying another night. Can't wait for this one. You told me
Special night.
about, yeah, you told me about all this and I started listening and man, becoming a fan quickly.
I got to tell you a story, man. First of all, I like to give you stories about like the guests and who we have coming on. So I'll get to this. Dude has some of the sickest tattoos in the game, first of all, which inspired me. Shout out to my boy Damien. Go see Damien at Electric Chair. I got to give a little shout out. Damien is top notch. Damien, love you, bro. Side story. But so I'm listening to this band, and I'm gonna take you back in time. This is the year 2003. I'm finishing. I'm high school, but I'm about to graduate. Young love, broken hearts. Even in my age, young teenager, bullying was happening. So somebody gave me a shiner at school. I ran home kind of upset. And back then we had this station that was called Z91. It was like a lot of the cutting edge, kind of like heavier metal stuff that was like POD, Switchfoot. It was like kind of a positive Christian message, but also good rock.
Yeah.
So I'm driving home in my Saturn, had a stick shift, couldn't even drive the thing. No heat, no air, no nothing. After kind of getting a shiner at school, didn't want anybody see me. I hear this song come on the radio, and it's like this dun, 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 dun. It's like, is this Papa Roach? Has this feel to it, like really kind of cool, upbeat, but the lyrics are so clean. There was a song called The Promise. So I look it up and like back then we had to go to the bookstores and look it up.
Yeah.
Found out it was this band called Spoken. Spoken, this album is like, it's so positive. You'd think all this like punk kind of angsty stuff would be like depressing, but it's positive. And the message was like, things are going to get better. I promise you. I started listening to these lyrics and like, it helped me get through that tough time. Then you fast forward this entire catalog of this band. Every couple of years after that, putting out great stuff. The Illusion album, which is my favorite, had a song called Deceiver. Even they just dropped a recent single with our guy Ryan from Demon Hunter. That was great. Their 2017 Nine was like an epic like work of art. There's a track on there you guys got to look up called In My Sight. Just from the day one till currently still going strong. This band
Yeah.
Spoken, it just never stopped. And their lead singer Matt Baird, love this guy. He's a kind of a minister, man of God, does a great thing for like the community, can write lyrics like nobody's business, and has
Yeah.
this one of a kind voice, Dan. Like you really can't match him. Like I don't want to say things like Chester Bennington-ish, but it is like in that realm where it's just very unique. That's Matty B. So Dan, I fanboy out. I can't help it. But I've been looking for this one for a long time since we started the show. So it's finally that time to bring on Matt Baird of Spoken. Matt, how you doing, my brother?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir, man. Everything I said was true, brother. So thank you for being so gracious and giving us your time and helping me get through some very, very tough times as a teenager, even into my adult life. Thanks, bro, for being there for me. So we've got some questions we're gonna run past you, man.
Yeah.
The audience and I and Dan have cultivated. So obviously, love what you've done with Spoken. You got a million side projects. You're a writer. We know that about you. Even some of your worship stuff. But man, take me back in the day for you as a musician. When did all this begin for you? Where were you at in life when you became a musician?
When I was 12 years old, my mom bought my brother and I a skateboard to share. And around that same time, my dad brought home an acoustic guitar. And my brother he didn't care about guitar, and he lost interest in skateboarding after about 2 weeks. So the skateboard became mine, and I was able to keep the guitar. But I didn't like the way the guitar made my fingers feel, so I stopped that for a while. I also, around that same age, quit singing because my brother embarrassed me by playing a cassette tape of me singing Michael Jackson songs a cappella.
Okay.
So I stopped singing when I was 12. Also stopped playing guitar. So I'm not sure how I ended up playing music at all. But later on at 14, started going to church for the first time because of skateboarding outside the church. And then they started a youth choir. And I kind of got suckered into doing a solo in the youth choir. So that started the vocal thing. But then I quit again because I'm like, I can't be in front of people. I can't do this. It stresses me out. And then in 1996, we decided to start a band, and that's when Spoken was born.
Man, and it's Matt, it's crazy. Before you take two, is I knew that because again,
Yeah.
I later on after Moment in Perfect Clarity, I went back and looked at your pre-catalog. Before that, it's so crazy, man. Back then, and I say this because I'm 38, our musical way this breaks down, it was like you'd have to discover a band on the radio and then find it. So man, those golden years of like the 96 through, when you took off,
Yeah.
such a scene. And Dane always says, Dane takes two. In my opinion, Dane will speak for this too. Most bands or musicians at least started somewhere in the 90s, right, Dane? Am I
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Oh, it seems like that's when all the best bands started. So
Yeah.
Matt, whenever you guys did start, catching a rhythm, as a group, what were some of the early days like? Where did you guys start cutting your teeth, start playing, and what kind of crowds were you playing to at those times?
I mean, our first show ever that we played was in someone's garage, and
Mhm.
we didn't have a name, at that point. But we just anytime, like on the weekends, someone's like, "Hey, we're having a party at our house or whatever." We would just go play. We would go play a show in the backyard, in a garage, a living room, and then we started kind of playing some local churches around Northwest Arkansas. We were able to play something called Spring Fest at our high school, and then we just started kind of branching out, playing in Tulsa, Little Rock, Springfield, Missouri, and that's kind of how it started. I mean, it started as playing for 5 people, 50 people, back to 3 people. Like we just any opportunity we could play, that's what we did.
I love it.
Yeah. And like they say, whenever you start there, some of those type of things are real intimate, and you tend not to forget those. From those early days to where you guys are now, this long career that you've had. What are maybe one or two events that you've done through the years that maybe stick out in the forefront of your mind that you're always maybe eager to tell people about, and maybe you
Mm,
can share a couple of those with us?
yeah.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to be able to play a lot of shows, just by ourselves, where obviously we didn't even have a record out yet. There's no way for anyone to know who we were. It was like dial up, like
Yeah.
a dial up. It was actual answering machines where you had to come home and push play and rewind the tape type stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we would just play anywhere, everywhere that we could. And I mean, one of the shows I always tell people about is we used to play this venue in Des Moines, Iowa called Frank's House of Rock. It was movie theaters on the south side of Des Moines, and we would kind of just show up there occasionally. We'd be driving through and have a day off, so we would show up, and uh, more times than not, they would let us just hop on whatever show it was and play. But one of the shows specifically we played there that I met my wife, and she
Okay.
was the promoter of the show. She actually, she talked to me, gave me a phone number that I didn't believe was the correct phone number, and I waited a couple days and then I called her. So, and now we've been married 21 years. So that's
Oh,
like
love it.
all time. But we've had some really cool opportunities over the years. I remember the first time we played with Living Sacrifice. First time we played with Zayo. Tours that we did with Stavesacre. There's a bunch. There's a bunch of shows
Mm.
that
All the ones you said, man, because we're friends with, obviously Mark's a great dude. We know True B from Sacrifice. Great guys. Like you guys, it's like a movement of these great musicians, these great guys. Like you guys are role models too, man. I think about the influence. I mean it when I say this. There's this whole scene, the late 90s, early 2000s, like this Tooth and Nail, kind of MXPX branch off. Again, even some of the Plank Eye, Stavesacre, Further Seems Forever, like this movement of music, right? Some of the early days of like Starflyer. Then you get in the metal, like you guys, Inhale, Exhale. Well, obviously POD. There's this. You guys were a part of this groundswell of like kids like me growing up. We were kind of like our parents sometimes were like deacons or things. So we're like trying to listen to stuff that is like fits us, but also still being positive and uplifting. So the influence that you've left on myself and now my kids, it's cool because like when I play Spoken, my daughter likes different songs than what I like. Like she loves Accuser, where of course I love, of course, Promise, and I love um I'm a big fan of In My Sight. So everybody's kind of got a different thing of what they love. I'm curious though, man, because your sound is very unique. There's elements of punk, there's even elements of pop, even elements of blues at times with your stuff. Who's been a couple of people that have influenced you musically? Because I can't put a finger on it.
Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning, before going to church, it was Metallica, Slayer, Testament, Anthrax, all these bands because I was skateboarding all the time. That's what they would play at the skate park. That's what we would play, on a little boom box outside, the bank in Lowell, Arkansas. We'd just be blasting music.
Yeah.
And then when I first started going to church, I heard of White Cross, Petra, White Heart, Blood
Yeah.
Good, Stephen Curtis Chapman, Michael W. Smith, and all those artists kind of DC Talk. Like I
Yeah.
loved it. So that's when we started listening to all those bands. But also like 311, Downset, Rage Against the Machine, those were all bands that were, really big in 1996 when we started.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just listening to all those. And then I remember hearing from a guy at a record label. He's like, yeah, my son's band is actually, we're trying to launch his band. They have a record coming out called Snuff the Punk. You should check it out. And it was Will from POD's dad. And so that was like one of the first conversations we had with someone that had a band that was kind of the same genre of music.
I love it, man. And Dane and I have talked about this many times, Matt. And like again, people like you, Sonny, just top-notch guys, right? Kevin from Disciple. There's this thing about you where you know how to rock, you know how to make great lyrics, and you made it cool. Like I mean it when I say now, because the world looks for more genuine than ever, right? I really believe that people look for something like whatever it is that's real. And you started this thing where it's like, I'm going to be myself. I'm going to speak about my faith. I'm going to speak about hope, but also times of struggle and stress. And I'm also going to rock your face off and be a top-notch, like A1 musician. There was a time, and you maybe recall this, but like Dane and I have talked about this growing up. There was times when it almost felt like you had great music or you had positive, uplifting stuff. And it was a time when it really didn't kind of mesh together. It was like, that must be a positive, maybe even Christian group, because it's just not the greatest talent. You guys came on the scene, people like you, and like you meshed together these worlds where it was okay to be great and to have a great message. So Dane knows all fanboy out, but am I right, Dane?
Yeah. I mean, and like you said, with being genuine, it's a scarce commodity nowadays, and people that stick firm to their beliefs. And it's great that you do something so well, and you have that kind of message that's uplifting and more than anything today necessary for people to hear.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Play music. I'm just saying, I can't believe that we still get to play music. Myself, for one, I mean, I've been doing it a long time, 28 years now since the band started. And, the cool thing is I have younger guys that are better musicians, better songwriters, better performers, better singers, better everything. And so it allows me to stay a little more current than I probably would be if it was a bunch of guys my age.
No, I think you'd be just fine, Matt. Dave, what were you going to say? Go ahead, Dane.
No, I was just going to say, now that you guys, you've been at it for this long and you're still going strong, now that we're into 2024, I mean, we're almost a quarter of the way through the year. What's on the horizon for you guys? I know you got some things on the horizon. What are some of the things you guys are looking to do in this year?
Well, I mean, the record finally comes out on March 15th.
Yeah.
So that's been quite the process that we're excited to have it out. We have another music video coming out the day the record comes out. So that'll be 2 new music videos and 4 singles by the time the record comes out. We have several shows with Disciple coming up in the end of March throughout April. Then we have several festivals that we'll be booking in between coming up during the summer and into the fall. But we've also already started demoing new music for a new record. So we've never really been this far ahead of ourselves when it comes to writing music. And so that's just because the guys that are in the band now, they're in writing mode all the time, which is a great thing. It's going to.
Dude, I will tell you, Matt, Sleeper's cool because I mean you've always had this sonic sound to it, but Sleeper, it's heavy. I like it. So, are we gonna see more of that style on the record? You think, or more heavier?
That's the heaviest thing we've ever done. I don't know that we could do something heavier than that. That's
love it.
Really effective. And then the whole idea of getting Ryan Clark involved with it and the fact that he said yes was shocking. And we've known them since 2006 when we toured with them. We spent 6 weeks on the road with them. We see them occasionally, at shows and festivals, whatever. It's always good to see them. They're just a great band. I love that band. But I've been doing Ryan's part live, and
okay.
I don't even know what to say. Like, his voice is crazy. So trying to do his part is a huge stretch for me.
I mean this though, dude, because I think in this world of metal and positive Christian metal, it was almost like it had to happen because you and Ryan, you guys are very distinct. You, Ryan, Kevin, maybe Rob from Pillar, some of those like key voices of like this speaks to the genre that we're in. I'm just so glad it finally happened, man. The timing was right. So, going to transition into a little segment that we do every episode. I promise.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think people they seem to really like that song.
Yeah, it's great, man. So I'm excited for the things to come. So this little subject, Matt, we're going to transition to every episode. We do this thing that's called rapid fire. Now, let me preface this just for a little bit.
Okay.
Dane and I, we've already bet on what we think you're going to say. We have 5 questions that we're going to present to you. Imagine for a moment that past or present, you can go back in time, you can go to the future, nothing's off the table. We're going to get weird, but it'll be PG, but we're going to get weird. And then you pick what you feel is right. Dane and I already have the questions that we bet on what we think you're going to say. Whoever gets closest to picking your answers gets lunch provided by the loser. Okay? So, Dane, you ready, Dane?
Yep.
Right.
I'm ready.
Okay, so we're going to go back to the 90s for this one, right as you guys were kind of taking off and all that. And 2 of these, I love both of these rappers so very much, but they say, hey, we want you and the band to come on tour with us. We're going to do just an album. For the concert, we're going to just play this album in full. We want you and the band to be our live background performers for this album. So Biggie calls you up and says, I want you to be a part of Life After Death and just be the background music for me. Or Pac calls you up and says, I want you to be a part of the Machiavelli album. You and the band just get to play it live behind it. Are you going with Pac or Biggie live? Which one are you going to perform for?
You're saying Tupac?
Yeah.
Tupac.
Let's go. I had you. Dane, what did you have on that?
I had Biggie on that one. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one, dude.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong either way.
Both great. Love them both. Okay, got you. So again, no wrong answer. So second one, Matt, check this out. 2 of these iconic game shows call you up and says, Matt, we'd like you and the boys and Spoken to make a remix for the theme song for this TV show. We want you to make it rockin' up and kind of like redo it. So you get to be responsible for creating the 2024 reimagined theme song for Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune and make it metal style. Which one are you going with?
Probably Wheel of Fortune. Pat
Dude,
Sajak.
I'm striking out. Dane, which one did you have? Dane?
Man, I'm 0 for 2. Oh.
I could just hear you, Matt, kind of like take a Jeopardy, like dun 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 dun. Kind of have some like triplets go in the background. I could just hear it, you know. Oh, all right, that's cool.
That'd be
cool.
It'd be too predictable.
Yeah, I got you. Fair enough. So take this one out. Next one. So you get called up, and what they're going to do is they're going to have kind of a action movie where they want you to be part of this movie. Want you to like kind of a reality TV show where you're going across country, like riding motorcycles, like riding bikes with Matt, right? So you get to have a co-host roll with you across country, like you're stopping at barbecue stops, things like that, and just doing your thing. You can have Paul Rudd go on this trip with you across country, the Ant-Man, if you will, or you can have Zac Efron roll across the country with you on this bike excursion. You going with Paul or Zach for this?
It's hard because I look at Paul Rudd and laugh.
Right.
I think he's fun. But Zac Efron, I think it'd be entertaining because he would sing a lot, you know,
Yeah.
like, and Greatest Showman's a great movie.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. You going with Zach?
I'm tied. I don't know. Maybe Paul Rudd.
Okay, I got you. Dane, how about you? What'd you have on that
Maybe.
one, Dane?
Maybe.
I had Paul Rudd on that one.
Okay, so we're 1-1, Matt. So we Dane and I are tied for 1-1. Cool. No wrong answer, Matt. It's all good. Just can't change your answer once you say it, okay? So next one, check this out. So these 2 movie franchises, we're getting into a movie question here. They'd like you, this is a big one. You get to be the villain in one of these 2 movies. You're usually the hero and just positive guy. But we're going back to 1993, and you can be Arnold's bad guy. You can be the T-1000 in Terminator 2, or you can be the Predator in Predator 2. Would you rather be the Terminator, or would you rather be the Predator? Which bad guy would you rather be?
Predator.
Oh my gosh, I'm losing out, Dane. I had the Terminator. I had the T-1000. What'd you have, Dane?
Oh yeah, I had a T-1000. Figure you can be liquid metal. You can transform into anything you want. Oh,
Let's
man,
go.
That'd be the dream.
I got you, Matt. So I'm getting a little bit more of a feel for your personality. I got you now. I got you, man. Cool. So last one. We're going to go back into a concept album. Both of these artists, I love them in very, very different ways. But both of these guys say, Matt, we would like to sit down and just kind of write an album with you, okay? Again, I love both of these guys, but very, very different. These 2 people that call you up, check this out, is Frank Zappa. I guess that'd be way before the 90s. Frank Zappa wants to make an album with you. Or you get Trent Reznor to sit down and write a positive album with you. Zappa or Reznor? Which one are you going with?
Reznor.
Let's go. Finally got one right. Dane. Did you have that one or did you have that?
Yeah, Ed Reznor. Yeah, it's hard to beat that.
Okay. Gotcha.
Nine Inch
Yeah.
Nails,
Could you just kind of hear
absolute.
like putting your positive like in like if we got Reznor to do that, like just you and him. Trent, if you're listening out there somewhere, if you are, let's make that happen. So no, but Matt, thank you. That's the whole thing we do called rapid fire. Dane and I tied on that one, so you're off the hook, Dane. Just something we do every episode. So hopefully, in media that you've done, it's something a little different than previous media. So thanks for being a good sport. Okay, so
Absolutely.
then,
No, on the last paper, we actually were talking about "Hurt" by Trent Reznor. We were listening to the Johnny Cash version
yeah,
of how awesome it would be to cover that song, even do a cover now of that
yeah,
song. And so, yeah, I think Zappa would be too.
out
I'm
there.
just not here with Zappa.
I got
But
you. Yeah,
There you go.
I got. Well, hey man, that'd be kind of cool if we see that live. I think it'd be a great one. So yeah, it's kind of cool. But Dane,
Absolutely.
I'll give it back to you, man, for that last segment, man. So,
Yeah, on this final segment, we call it open mic. We kind of open the floor up to our guests to maybe talk to some of our younger listeners that are up and coming, either musicians, singers, or even in sports. Any younger person aspiring to do great things. Is there maybe a message you've carried through your career, maybe a philosophy that maybe you can maybe pass on to that next generation to help them along their path?
yeah, I mean, I think like with our band in the beginning when we started, we were unsure of what we were doing. We didn't have like a mentor come in and be like, hey, here's all the things to watch out for when it comes to booking, management, record labels, promoters of shows. We didn't have someone immediately come in and kind of show us how to do that. It took a lot of trial and error. And so one of the things that we did learn early on was that in all situations, like believe it when you see it, when it comes to business deals, or you're going to be able to go on this tour, or if you're looking at sports, hey, you'll probably be on this team, however that works. When you're actually doing it, when you can be like, oh yeah, that's working out, that this makes sense. But also no one is going to work as hard for you for your career as you are. Like that you hire to handle your career, they'll do so much, but a lot of times they'll have other artists or other other individuals that they're working for as well. So in this situation, like it would be no one's going to work as hard for you as you, and it's going to take practice, whether it be music or sports. We all have dreams of what we would like to do, but if we're not working to achieve that, it is just a dream. It's not something that we're trying to attain, and it should be something that we never stop trying to do. I mean, it'd be like if I didn't continue to try to be a better songwriter, like I would be like, oh, I'm stuck right here at this songwriting, situation in my life, but also with performance and trying to be smarter with touring and be, I don't know, not let all these young bands that are just starting out blow past us,
yeah. Well, Matt, again, you can see my page of notes every time we do this. I got a page of notes just listening to what you're saying, and it's true, man. But I think you have nothing to worry about because someone genuine like yourself, there's a reason why you have that groundswell and that following 28 years in the making, man. What's good about you is, like you said, you taking your experiences and now you can expand on that and just get even better. As great as you already were, I don't say that lightly. Now you have the experience, the musical prowess, the business acumen, and now even more experiences to draw on in life. And now recording equipment's never been better. So you just continue to just get better and better over time, man. So I'm just glad that you're still willing to do this and bless us with great music. I'm glad you're not going anywhere, man. It means the world to us, So
Yeah, absolutely.
so
taking the time to do that. And thanks for your patience to make the schedule work, because I know it's ever changing for me.
Oh, not a problem at all, Matt. It's like I said, I'd have done it. Dane knows this. I'd have done it at 3 a.m. if I had to. We love you.
Yeah.
We're grateful to have you on. So if we can, man, let's make sure we stay in touch and let this be the first of many. Good luck on the tour. We hope to see you soon, and we'll get this out to the world as soon as we can, and we'll be in touch. And I hope you have a great month, and we'll be in touch. Okay. So I think there's a delay there. So much love, brother. Thank you, Matt, so much, my friend. You have a good one, and we'll let you get back to your day, Matt. Much love, man. Take care, brother. Bye. Appreciate you, man. So, dude, I'm telling you, Dan, I love this guy. What'd you think of him?
Yeah, love it. I mean, love his message. The things he writes about are necessary. It's one of those where, there's some groups that write positive things only. There's some people that write, gloom. Everybody has their niche, but he seems to capture every facet of life. So he's a great songwriter. The things that I've listened to him sounds great. I mean, so we would encourage everybody out there. Their March 15th, Reflection comes out, their 10th album. So give them a listen, look them up on Spotify, wherever you get your music, and you won't be disappointed. He's a great songwriter.
There's something about his music, man. And again, he's so confident, and that's kind of when that you don't really have to go there when other people say it for you. Like if you notice, he just kind of casually went there, like, hey, I'm friends with people like POD, Stave Saker, all these people that we have looked up to and that we just absolutely love, him included. It's a no wonder that they say birds of a feather. No wonder they're all friends, right? Like you have this driven movement of music where it's like, hey, you know what? We want our kids and the next generation to be better than we were. He mentioned, being kind of like young, skateboarding, just kind of maybe he kind of went there a little bit, maybe like troublemakers or whatever, and kind of turning his life around. No wonder they wanted something better for the next generation. He is the next generation of music and still going strong. And all he's thinking about is how do I get better? How do I stay current? How do I help the next? You kept hearing his voice, like, how do I stay relevant? And he's doing it. You know what I mean? So if you haven't listened to Sleeper, guys, it's true. Matt's not a screamer. Like I will tell you right now, Matt's not a screamer, but he gets down and dirty like Ryan does from Demon Hunter and just belts it out. So you got to check it out. But yeah, Dane, you know me, man. That was our bucket list just keeps turning into like this. It was a 55-gallon drum. Now it's like a waste management storage shed list, and it just keeps getting bigger.
There you go.
So that was a great one, Dane. I'm glad that we got to talk to him firsthand. He'll be coming to town or somewhere near, I'm sure, in the near future. So if you guys get a chance to check him out, please go look up Spoken. Again, Promise, Accuser, In My Sight comes to mind. The entire Illusion album is top notch. If you're looking for something positive and you need like a little pick me up, maybe at the gym, and you want to kind of have your face melted off in a positive way, look up Spoken. It'll help you. So
yeah, absolutely.
But guys, that was a great week. That actually takes us to the conclusion of the week. Next Sunday, it's gonna be a good week. Next Sunday, the one and only Alyssa Razzo makes her video debut.
Yes,
great. Got some stuff coming up next week. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I talked to our dear friend Dawn Jensen, pro female hunter, is coming on the show next week. It'll be great. And I got a lot of stuff in the pikes, guys. We're not slowing down. So just kind of want to say thank you as always for making this possible.
Absolutely.
We can't do this without you. Don't forget, as always, that we love you. And Dane,
thank you for listening.